Good morning, welcome back once again to another exciting behind the scenes video as I go out and run a whole bunch of errands. This time I'm being a little bit smarter. I'm crossing the road over here, and because of this curve I actually see the traffic that's coming. I finally learned my lesson, but you have to be careful here in the middle median. The middle median, what other types of medians are there? Yeah, I have to be careful in the median. You don't want to get smacked in the head by one of these giant side mirrors on a bus or something. So, the errands, very complicated. This actually started yesterday. I went out on an errand run yesterday and did a bunch of things. A lot of things happened, and I'll start off by telling that story. And today's errands are a continuation of yesterday's errands. But first, I think I'll start with a fairly typical experience here on planet Doug, the technological nightmare that is waking up in the 21st century. You wake up, I woke up full of energy, got a good night of sleep. A few things happened yesterday that were good, so I was in a pretty good mood. And then you open your eyes and you start turning on all of your various devices, your smartphones, your laptops, your tablets, whatever it is you have in your life. And you start to do things, and then things just spin out of control right from the get-go. And that happens to me all the time. It's like every day begins with a 2-hour struggle to the death with modern technology. And I never know what the problem is or what is going on. I mean, they're not exactly big and severe problems, nothing like that, but just little things, and you just wish they wouldn't happen. So, for example, I had to rebook my room for a few more nights because my reservation ran out at my hotel. And you got to get on that right away because the rooms, of course, in the modern world can be booked out from under you. So I wanted to get on top of that right away. And because of this ridiculous Malaysian tourism tax, part of the process is if you book your room online through Agoda, then you have to go to Agoda, download your tourism tax receipt to show that you've paid, and then you have to connect with your hotel front desk clerk via WhatsApp, so he becomes one of your contacts. Like every hotel clerk I've ever encountered recently in Malaysia is in my WhatsApp contact list now because I have to send him documents about the tourism tax. So I have to do that, and then because what they tell me is that even though they have Agoda on their computer system, of course, they have no information about this. They cannot tell whether or not you've paid the tax or not. And if you haven't, of course, you have to pay them in cash. But through Agoda, through Booking.com now, if you're a foreigner, it's automatic now. They detect that you are a non-Malaysian, and the 10 ringgit per night tax just gets tacked onto your bill, and you've paid it automatically already when you book the room. But the hotel doesn't know that. They have no idea that you've paid. So it's your responsibility to get a receipt from Agoda to show that you paid and then send it to the hotel clerk via WhatsApp. And I've been doing that a million times. It's part of my routine now. But this morning, for some reason, I couldn't do it. No idea why. Still can't tell you. I go to WhatsApp, I send the guy a message. Good morning, this is Doug, room 105. I've extended my stay for 5 more nights. Here is the tourism tax receipt. And then I try to attach the file. It's just, I've done it a million times. And this morning, for some reason, it's grayed out. Nothing I can do. I'm tapping and clicking, and I'm dragging. I copied it to a new folder, put it in my documents folder. I thought, oh, maybe it's because it's in the wrong folder. It's in the download folder. WhatsApp doesn't like that, so I put it in my documents folder, and it won't go into my WhatsApp message. I thought, oh, maybe it thinks it's an image, so it should be in my pictures folder. So I go to my DCIM folder and I put it there, another copy. Still won't work, still won't work. I'm fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting with this thing, and there's nothing I can do. I cannot send the hotel a copy of my tax receipt. And finally, what I figured out, there's one more method I could try, and that is I could see the file on my phone, and then if I long press on it, I get the menu, and if I click on share, Then I can share it to WhatsApp, choose my recipient, and then it went through. But I had to do an end run because the normal way of just attaching it wouldn't work this morning. And that was probably 45 minutes of my life this morning gone just trying to send the hotel a copy of my tourism tax receipt. So the death struggle with technology is real. So, as always, I'm at Masjid Jamak LRT station, about to go through the turnstiles. And I'm going to the Sunway Velocity shopping center. That's where Olympus is located. I'm still deep in the drama of trying to get my camera repaired. More about that story in a minute. So that's where I'm going. So I'm heading from here to Pasar Seni, transferring to the Kajang line to Cochrane Station this time. I figured out how to do that. It's much closer to the Olympus office. Planet Doug denizens, Planet Doug subscribers informed me of that method. So I went to Cochrane yesterday as well. And yeah, it was a lot closer. When you come out of the Cochrane station, I was expecting to see a big arrow, a big sign saying this way to Sunway Velocity. But there was nothing like that. But if you just pick an exit and go up to the real world, then suddenly you can look around and go, oh, there's Sunway Velocity, and there was a pedestrian bridge. So that's what I'm going to do today as well. And I'm just heading down to the platform of the Kelana Jaya line, head to Pasar Seni as I tell my stories. Pasar Seni station now, and this is where I transfer to the Kajang line. I could do this transfer in my sleep, and lately it's practically what I have been doing. I've been half asleep going about my days, but I feel okay today, so that's good. So the other component of my early morning death match with technology wasn't really a problem, wasn't preventing me from doing anything. It just put me in a state of panic with stress levels going through the roof, heart pounding, not sure what's going on. And that's because all my devices just started blaring, just notifications everywhere. Phones, tablets, just beep, 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 beep. Everything was beeping because they're all connected, right? Your Microsoft Outlook account is your backup for your Gmail account, and your Gmail account is your backup for Microsoft. So whenever they send you something from either account, it gets sent to both. So everything was just exploding with notifications. And I look at the email, and yeah, it sent me into a mild panic because it said something, for one thing, I didn't understand at all. And then it made me worried about security. It was basically saying they've added a new feature to Microsoft Outlook. I understand it now, but at the time, early this morning, I wasn't reading it carefully enough. But what they were telling me is that through the Microsoft Outlook app, it has now become easier to approve sign-in notifications. And it took me a long time to figure out what they were talking about, but I guess if you sign in to your Outlook account, Microsoft account, now through the app, you'll get some kind of a notification that this is happening, and then you have to approve it, which increases your security, right? But it took me a while to figure out what they were saying, because right after that paragraph, it said, notification on your Samsung with a big serial number saying, oh, this applies, you can do this on your Samsung, and then gave a long serial number to tell, music, run away. And then I didn't recognize the serial number. I don't know the serial number of my phones. I know it's a Samsung Note 10 Plus and an S10 Plus. I know that, but they're giving me like this serial number, and it's like, oh, you can do it. And then right after that, it says, if you don't recognize this number, a malicious user might have access to your account. Please review security procedures and let us know. And I'm like, what the heck? Now you're telling me a malicious user has access to my account? Like, what the heck is going on? It's like, so of course my heart starts pounding, and I'm like, how do I fix this? What's going on? And Yeah, coming down to the platform now, as always. And there's my all-time favorite thing in Kuala Lumpur, the sign right here. This is what I need to hold my hand in the world of technology. Every time I see this sign, I give a sigh of relief. It's just like, I know where I am and I know where I'm going. It's so well put together. So basically, I'm here and going here to Cochrane. And that's a whole adventure I'll talk about in a minute. And when is my train coming? 2 minutes. And I'm going to walk down to the end, the far end of the station. So, of course, I wanted to make sure that a malicious user did not suddenly have access to my account. And I went to my various Samsung devices and I looked for the model number, I guess. It's not really a serial number. It's not that complicated. I'm making it out to be more complicated than it really is. It was the model number. Each, like a Samsung Note 10 Plus, has a specific Samsung model number that identifies it. But the reason I got confused originally is the model number they sent me didn't match the model number on my phone when I looked it up, because it was a partial. It was the first part of the number, but on my phone there were more letters at the end. And what Microsoft sent me didn't match exactly, but it was sort of close enough. And then upon rereading the message and figuring out, oh, okay, now I understand it. It seemed on first glance to be an official message from Outlook telling me that a malicious user has gained access to my account, right? And that is not how you want to start your day, because I've got like 10 things at least I want to get done today. And if there was some sort of a malicious attack, it would take the entire day to deal with it, and that's another day completely gone. But eventually I figured out what was going on. But even then, I was just exhausted afterwards, and I hadn't even started my day yet. Yeah, that's just how my life goes. And then the very first thing I need to do is technology related, because I noticed that there wasn't enough money on my eWallet, on my phone. Again, there's a story connected with that, and I'll tell that story in a minute. So the first thing I wanted to do was go to 7-Eleven and go to 7-Eleven and top up my eWallet. I put 50 ringgit on my account. The 7-Eleven in my neighborhood is one of these classic 7-Elevens. They come in a full range. I've talked about this before that in Thailand, the 7-Elevens were like paradise. They were so big, they were extensive, a full product line, and the staff there were so well trained and so friendly and helpful. The 7-Eleven culture in Thailand is far advanced compared to the one here in Malaysia. And there are certain 7-Elevens sprinkled around KL, like a local small neighborhood one, where I think their very worst employees eventually get shunted to that 7-Eleven, and they leave them there because that neighborhood is perhaps a little bit rough around the edges, and the people there don't really mind that the staff are a little bit rough around the edges. But then a wimpy Canadian like me, I go into that 7-Eleven and I'm just shocked at the treatment I get every time. So in this case, I walked into the 7-Eleven and there was nobody there. The place was completely empty, not a soul. So I walk in there and I'm standing around and I'm waiting. The door gave that 7-Eleven beep and said, well, welcome to 7-Eleven, whatever the announcement says. And then I assume the employee heard the door bell and then will emerge from somewhere. But I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I've had this experience there before, so I knew what was going on. And I assumed the staff member was watching me from the back room on the surveillance cameras, and she was just waiting for me to leave. Because she does that all the time. When customers come in, the place is empty, they stand around for a while, then they just turn around and leave because the place is empty. And she's done that to me a number of times in the past. So, but this time I thought I'm going to wait her out because I really wanted to, do the reload. So I was standing there waiting and waiting, kind of looking up at the cameras, waiting for her to see me and come out. And she finally, I heard the door open behind me, and this woman came from the back room, and she gave me a look that could have killed me. There was so much hate in her face. She just glared at me and, oh, you made me come out here. And she was so angry with me. And then she went up to the cash register and I did my little reload thing. Her whole body language, she was turned away from me, wouldn't look at me. She was so upset. And then she just sort of held out her hand without looking, took the money. And while I was waiting for her, other customers had come in the meantime while I was waiting. And they waited with me, but they didn't have my patience. And they just turned around and left. So,
Pavilion Bukit Bintang. Ini adalah stesen pertukaran kenaluan KL Monorail.
Really loud announcements, kind of a bit much sometimes.
You are now approaching Pavilion Bukit Bintang.
Very clear though.
This is an interchange station with KL Monorail line. Exit to the right door.
I keep waiting for her to end, but they go on for a long time. Anyway, I guess that story wasn't really about technology problems, except that I had to reload credit onto one of my pieces of technology.
Setiap train MRT laluan Kajang, semua penumpang wanita dianjurkan untuk memenuhi tempat duduk di coach wanita terlebih dahulu. Terima kasih.
Utamakan tempat duduk untuk wanita mengandung,
this is interesting.
warga emas, dan orang kelainan upaya.
Women's coach are now available on MRT Kajang Line trains. Female passengers are welcome to fill the women's coach seats first. Thank you.
Offer your seat to pregnant women,
still going.
senior citizens, and disabled persons.
Now there are commercials playing. It's just endless noise. And I guess I'm adding to the noise with my narration here. But anyway, what's interesting about that is here in multicultural Malaysia, the announcements are delivered in multiple languages. I think that was 3 languages, right? English at the end. So it goes on much longer than you would expect because the new language comes up. But the very final announcement is a new one. I haven't heard that for a long time, or I haven't heard it before. And I don't really understand it because they're saying, oh boy, I'm going to wait until we arrive.
Cochrane. Pintu di sebelah kanan akan dibuka. You are now approaching Cochrane. Exit to the right door.
The quiet of the station platform. But what I was saying about that last announcement is that it's about the women's coaches, and the message contradicts what I understand about the coaches. So here they are here. These all the pink signs, they tell you that these coaches are only for women, right? Women only, Juanita Sahaja. And down here at the bottom as well, women only coach. So large, hairy individuals like myself who accidentally stumble into one of those carriages because we're not looking, we run out of there in a panic because we're not supposed to be in that coach. But that announcement doesn't say that. That announcement says that there are coaches for women and that in these coaches, women are invited to fill the seats first. So basically that announcement is saying that women have first access to any available seat in the women's coaches. Which doesn't mean women only, it means that men can get on that coach, on that car. They can stand there and they can even sit down if they want, if there's an available seat. But if women get on, they have to give up their seat to women. That's what the announcement is saying, and that's completely different from what I understand. Anyway, I wouldn't dare go into the women's coach no matter what the announcement tells me, but occasionally I see men in there. They're not thinking clearly, they're on their phone and they're standing there for a couple of stops, and then they realize where they are, and then they make a beeline for, you know, the men's coaches. But anyway, yeah, I wonder if it's a new policy or someone wrote it out incorrectly in English. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Me and my interest in systems, you see. I pay attention to systems information, how information is conveyed to people, and its accuracy. I like that sort of stuff. I've exited from Cochrane Station. That is it down there. And then, well, actually that's it over there. But then you can walk over to this pedestrian bridge, and this pedestrian bridge, quite a large structure, takes you across all of the busy roads of Kuala Lumpur. And this is the rear end of Sunway Velocity. So this isn't where all the shopping is. This is kind of the technical office space end of Sunway Velocity. But this is where Olympus is located. Yesterday, I went in the wrong direction. I got totally turned around, and I went walking way up there for a long distance until I realized that was the wrong way. I'm supposed to go around the corner. Olympus is over here. But now I know. Now I've got it all figured out. And since I'm almost at Olympus, I should tell a little bit of the story of what's going on. Basically, to sum up quickly, my camera was broken when I was down in Port Dickson. The LCD, so the whole camera would freeze up. The LCD screen would go blank, or it would freeze just with lettering on it, but it wouldn't respond in any way, and none of the buttons would respond. The camera would basically just freeze, and it did it a lot, to the point where I couldn't even use the camera anymore. So I brought it into Olympus here in KL. They have a service center here. And yeah, they took it in, but their techs couldn't recreate the problem. What I told them happens wouldn't happen for them. They concluded that it worked fine, that there was nothing wrong with it, and then they put it on the shelf and kind of forgot about it. So like a month goes by, I don't hear from them, and I finally go into Olympus to get an update, like, what's going on, guys? And they tell me, yeah, there's nothing wrong with your camera, sir, it works fine. But then I left it there, and they're gonna take another crack at it. And then, again, I didn't hear from them at all. So I went back yesterday to investigate, and I'd also given them 2 lenses to clean, and I hadn't heard anything about the lenses either. I got no emails or anything. But when I walked in yesterday, they says, oh, your lenses are done. Here are your lenses, and we need money, thank you very much. And they said, yeah, the camera, just take it back, because as far as we're concerned, it's in perfect working condition. We cannot recreate this problem, because I reported it as intermittent, and they said, well, yeah, this intermittent problem you've experienced never happens for us. So yeah, unless we can see the problem, we can't fix it. We can't troubleshoot. We don't know what to do. We could replace so many parts in the camera, just guessing that maybe this, maybe that, maybe the other thing. But unless they see the problem for themselves, they don't have a starting point for repairs. So anyway, I took the camera away, brought it back to my hotel last night, and when I first turned on the camera, it worked. And I turned it off, turned it back on again, it worked, turned it off, turned it back on, and it worked. And I thought, maybe the Olympus elves had snuck in during the night and magically fixed the camera, and my problem is gone. So I was pretty happy about that. But then right after I had that thought, no, camera froze. And I spent a good chunk of time last night doing all kinds of experimenting, because I wanted to find a way that this problem happens 100% of the time. Because I'm shooting video. That's what I shoot all the time. And when I'm shooting video, this freezing problem is intermittent. It happens from time to time, and then it becomes more and more and more frequent as time goes by. But I think at Olympus, they were just taking pictures with the camera. They went into photo mode. Well, if you go into video mode, I guess because it is intermittent, they never saw the problem. And then they would go into photo mode and then take a bunch of pictures, and the camera was working fine, so they just gave up on it. So what I did last night is I went through all the settings on the camera, taking pictures, changing it, like aperture priority, take pictures, shutter priority, take pictures, go into the menu, format the memory card, take the battery in and out. I was trying to do something that would take my intermittent problem and make it into a consistent problem. And eventually I stumbled across something. There was one button. If I push that button, the camera freezes every time, every single time. And I'm pretty confident now I can bring it into Olympus, show them the camera, and then I'll just push that button and then, see? Frozen. And then it shuts down. Frozen. For me, I tested it all last night. During the night, I would wake up in the middle of the night, grab the camera, turn it on, push that button, frozen. And then this morning when I woke up, I tested it, it still works. So with my luck, when I get into Olympus here, Olympus is just around the corner. Of course, it won't happen. And I don't even know if I can leave the camera here for repairs anyway, since I'm leaving Malaysia in 5 days. But I just got to get this thing out of my head. I've got to show it to them and see what happens. So that's what's going on here. That's why I'm here at the back end of Sunway Velocity. And now I have to navigate the security touchpad up ahead here to head into Olympus. And we'll find out what Olympus says. Hello. And yeah, here we are. Something I learned is that Olympus is, this service center isn't really Olympus. This is not Olympus. It's actually YL Camera. But they got the license to service Olympus cameras, and they created a separate company called OMD World Imaging, and they service Olympus cameras under license from Olympus, but this isn't actually Olympus. I didn't know that. Anyway, let's go inside. Leaving Olympus, good news and bad news. The good news is that the good men at Olympus no longer think I'm insane, because as I said, I brought them a camera, said it was broken, and they looked at it and went, we don't know what this guy's talking about, it works fine. But I demonstrated to them this time, okay, here it is. And every time we used the camera, it froze and wouldn't respond exactly as I described. So they got to see it for themselves. So my reputation has sort of been restored. Let's say my dumbness level, which was at 100% in their eyes, maybe it's down at 50% now. I'm just 50% dumb as far as Olympus is concerned, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But that's the only good news. Beyond that, based on what the tech saw as far as the problem, it indicates to him a couple of different possibilities. I won't go into all the technical details, but he said it's either this or this or this. And all three of those problems came with hefty repair bills. So it made no sense at all. The camera is an older model, and I had actually been thinking of selling all of my Olympus gear and doing something different, and to invest that, I can't sell it in its current condition, obviously. So I was just going to repair it, and then I can sell it in working condition. But it would cost so much money to repair it that you wouldn't even get your money back from selling it. So that's it. It's done. I might be able to use it to shoot video. I don't know, because it does seem to be responding a little bit better in video mode as opposed to photo mode. But as I said, down in Port Dickson, it shut down all the time. And unfortunately, again, I'm not going to go into all the technical details. I'll babble forever, but I have a feeling that I caused the problem. I did something that now I'm thinking back in terms of the settings, like, I did something wrong, and I think I ended up damaging the camera myself through my own dumbness. That's where the 50% dumbness comes from. I'm pretty sure I did it. I'm not talking about smashing the camera or banging it or dunking it underwater or putting it in an oven, nothing like that, but just normal camera usage. I did something with it on a regular basis, and I think back now, it's like, oh, I know what I should have done, and I think I screwed it up. Pretty sure I did. Same thing with the lenses, all the fungus in the lenses. The guys at Olympus, they kept telling me all the ways that fungus forms, all the things you can't do. You can't do this in Malaysia, you can't do that, you can't do this in tropical countries. the case that you put your lenses in that I'm using, you can't use those. That's where the fungus comes. Everything he said that you can't do in Malaysia, I did, because I grew up in Canada where the air is dry and cool. We don't have fungus like that. So, yeah, I mean, when I came through immigration and customs at Malaysia, nobody gave me a card that said, oh, if you plan on doing any video or photography in our country, please adopt these methods for storing your camera equipment and your lenses to avoid fungus buildup. Nobody told me, so I didn't know. And fungus everywhere. I did bring in one other lens that I have, a 12mm Olympus, because I tried to sell it the other day, and the guy at the camera store said, no, we can't sell this, fungus. I thought it was clean. Ooh, look at that, more technology. Hello there, little bot. If I was in charge of that thing, I'd have to spend an hour a day just rebooting it and getting it to work again. But, so yeah, this 12mm lens, they told me it has a different type of fungus. They didn't really explain it, but it was more like speckles as opposed to spiderweb. It was speckly, and I didn't really understand it, but the guy at Olympus took the time to explain it to me, and he said that comes from like condensation. That moisture got into the lens from the humidity, and then it condenses inside the lens and puts tiny little droplets all over the lens, and wherever there's one of these droplets, you see a little speck, and then a type of fungus can start to grow inside that speck. And then it became a question of, well, can we clean this lens? Because I'd like to sell it as well. It's a very expensive lens, and if I spend the money to have it cleaned, how's that going to work? And the way he described it to me, he says, well, it's sort of like a doctor saying, okay, we can do the operation, but there's a 70% chance the patient will die on the table. That's how it sounded to me, that we can try to clean the lens, but this type of fungus eats into the coating on the lens. So we can remove the fungus, but then underneath it, the coating of the lens will be completely degraded and it'll be worse than before. So I went, oh, okay, well, that doesn't sound good. And basically my knapsack, which is full of camera gear that I hope to pass on to other people, either for money or for free or whatever, it's still just sitting in my backpack because none of it is particularly usable. Oh, it's so frustrating. It never ends. So, yeah. And the worst part is all these problems I'm describing, as I said, were probably avoidable if I were more careful, more aware of the situation, how to use these cameras. I just didn't treat them with enough respect, and I didn't understand the dangers of the humidity, for one thing. I mean, I know about humidity and fungus. I've been taking pictures my whole life. I know about fungus in cameras, but not to this extent. Never to this extent. It was a very rare thing to come across in my lifetime. And the only time I came across it when I was backpacking around Southeast Asia, and I would meet other foreigners, and we were talking cameras. He says, yeah, my camera's full of fungus. I've heard about it from people from Europe, the United States, but they all got the fungus when they were here in Asia, not back in their home countries, where it's drier and cooler. It's just not an issue there, not as much of an issue. So, anyway, that's where I am. Big construction project going on over there. Oh, that's Sunway over there as well. Sunway Velocity 2. I never noticed that before. So anyway, I'm not quite done today with the technology, unfortunately. I'm going to go to another camera store. I do have a lens, one lens. Out of my entire collection, I have one lens that maybe I can sell it. And I'm going to go to a camera store, have them look at it, tell me what they think. So that's that's the next project. Once again, back in Berjaya Times Square. It's the main courtyard down below with the elevator. And I don't spend a lot of time on these lower floors. I always head straight up to the 6th floor. That's where all the camera stores are. Approaching the 6th floor, and if I'm in the right place, in the right mall, at the right time, Achi camera should be right ahead of me. Though I don't think I'm going there today. They don't, well, that's SC camera. Where's Achi? Should be here as well. Maybe it's off in that direction. SC, oh, there it is here. Never known how to pronounce it, Achi or Asi or double C, trips me up. But I don't think they deal in things like GoPros, action cameras, more high-end stuff. A lot of used gear. I could ask him about my lens that I want to sell. But I do find that store a little bit off-putting, a little bit intimidating. There's people in there really wheeling and dealing, professional photographers, and you go in there as a standard consumer, and sometimes it feels like they just don't have the patience to deal with you. They need people that walk in there and see an 8,000 ringgit camera and go, oh yeah, give me one of those. And oh, has the new Sony come out yet? Yeah, it's here. The A7S III Primo. Oh, give me one of those too, and give me 3. You know, they just buy so much expensive camera gear. They trade in something mega expensive and walk out with something even more expensive. And then, I don't know, there's a toughness to the environment in some of these technology stores. I need a more friendly, consumer level atmosphere. That's where I'm at home. And All-Tech camera is sort of in between. It's not pure consumer friendly, but it's not dog-eat-dog professional technical level either. It's somewhere in the middle. But it is just about lunchtime. And at lunchtime, stores tend to empty out, and there may or may not be staff there. At least I don't see a big crowd of customers, so things may work out really well. That's an All-Tech camera up ahead. I'm going to stop here and get out my lens and get ready for this. And I'll tell you how it goes after I leave. A small sliver of success on Planet Doug today. The lens that I had for sale in really good condition, I thought, I hoped, and I brought it into All-Tech. And they were actually interested in it, and they gave me a fair price for it. You would get a lot more, of course, if you're selling things yourself, if you advertise them on a buy and sell and take the time to meet up with people and wait until someone meets your price. But, whoa, I'm here at the amusement park inside the mall. I just thought I'd come over here, capture a little bit of it on video. I've actually never seen, I don't think I've ever seen the roller coaster in operation. I've been here many times and I've seen the roller coaster tracks. I think I've seen video of it operating, but I've never seen it actually running. It was running just now. Where the heck did it go? It disappeared. It's like a magic roller coaster. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Standing here. That I guess it wouldn't be coming down here. That's probably the starting point. Probably gets pulled up there to the top of the hill, then comes down. Maybe I can wait here until it goes around one more time. But yeah, they gave me a fair price for it, I think. They can't give you full value because they now have to stock it and resell it and pay salaries, all that stuff. So yeah, works out. I think it's a pretty good deal for both of us. They make some money on it, and I get some of my money back relatively quickly without so much time investment, right? So that was kind of nice. It's taking a long time. I have no idea how often it runs. They probably have to wait midday like this a long time before they get enough people to fill up one of the cars or one of the trains. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Everybody's seen a roller coaster before. It'd be nice to get a little bit of video of it racing around, but not today. And now I am thinking about having some lunch. And let's see, try to decide where to go for lunch. I'll check back in once I'm there, once I know where I'm going. I have an idea. I've been going by this shopping mall, this plaza, so many times, and I don't think I've ever gone inside, called Sungai Wang shopping mall, this place here. I've never gone inside, and I just saw that there's a well-known Vietnamese restaurant up on the 3rd floor. So I'm gonna pop in there, see if I can find this place. Just get a bowl of noodles or banh mi. I'm actually thinking about banh mi again. So I'm gonna go try and find this restaurant. I don't really know where I am. I'm on some kind of ground floor. Basement 1, I guess. I don't know how I ended up here, but here I am. And there's elevators here. And I go up to the 3rd floor. Here are the elevators, but there's some sort of construction going on. Like a jackhammer's operation behind here. So things are a little bit jumbled right now. Let's see. Yeah, I've never been inside here before. I don't know what the mall is like at all. Took the elevator up to the 3rd floor. And a lot of the reviews for this restaurant that I read were they expressed surprise that they found such a nice restaurant, such an interesting restaurant right in the middle of a shopping mall like this. And yeah, I can see what they're talking about. I mean, you would normally end up in a place like this and think there's going to be great restaurants everywhere. It must be over there on the other side of this escalator. I'm going to have to walk around, see if I can find it. It's actually a little bit too close to lunchtime for my comfort. I always like to go to places way after the lunch rush is over. It's 1:30 right now. But we'll see what it's like. Success. I found the section of the mall. It's a bit of an older mall. A lot of closed doors up here, so a lot of places went out of business. But as soon as you come down here to where the restaurants are, then suddenly it gets really busy. Got Coffee Mingle over there, and right behind me I found Vinh. So this is the place I was looking for, Vinh City. Just take a look at their menu. As I said, I'm on the hunt for banh mi again. Appetizers. Hello, how are you?
Fine. Banh mi, very good.
Yeah, I came here to have banh mi.
Oh, good.
You have different types of banh mi?
Yeah. They got chicken, got beef, got pork.
Okay.
Then got egg, got fish cake.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll take a seat and have banh mi. Yeah. I'm all settled in. I just went for something super basic. I just got the banh mi. Really nice guy, a nice man came out to greet me when I was looking at the menu, and made me feel quite welcome. I love that. I'm all about that customer service welcome. So yeah, he got me in and indicated a seat right here. So funny though, I always do this. My talent, one of my many talents, is to always find the worst seat in any restaurant. And he brought me to this seat, and for some reason I didn't respond to it. It was too close to the entrance, and I wanted to be more in the interior. So I said, well, maybe in the back a little bit. So we go there. He shows me another seat, and I'm like, nah, I don't know about there. I think this one over here is the best one. I'm just about to sit down, and I've picked a seat right underneath the huge flat screen TV with rock music videos playing. I was like, how do I do it? I don't know, but it's like for me anyway, shooting video, and for any reason, you don't want to be right underneath the TV with the music blaring, right? So it's like, again, for some reason, I gravitate towards the worst seat. Anyway, so I said to the guy, actually, you know what? You were right. The first seat you showed me, let's just go back there. And here I am. I'd normally like to come to a restaurant like this feeling more rested. If I could come straight here, have something to eat, that would be good. After all the walking I did all the way to Olympus and all the way to Berjaya Times Square, then here I'm kind of hot and fatigued. Not the best time to have a nice meal, but anyway, it's a sandwich. I'm sure I can handle it. But I'm going to look over the rest of their menu. So they have all kinds of interesting things. The banh mi experience is going to have to wait for another day. Yeah, they just forgot about me. I waited and waited and waited and waited, and everybody was looking at me, and everybody knew I was there, and the order went through, and I finally I don't want to wait any longer, so I got up to go. And I guess they all thought they brought me my sandwich, because when I went to pay, they were charging me for the banh mi and said, "Oh, here's your bill, sir." I said, "No banh mi came to my table," and they're like, "Really?" Anyway, the whole family was sitting down around a big table having their own lunch. Like everybody that works there, they're probably generally related and staff. Anyway, they all sat down at this big banquet table eating lunch together. So at that point, if I said, "Oh, I still want my banh mi," then they would have to break up their lunch and go make it for me. But it was clearly their break time. The lunch rush was over, so they all stopped working. But nobody brought me a sandwich, so I'm so hungry. Yeah, I have to figure out how to get out of this place. I'm just gonna go down the stairs. Yeah, coming up here by elevator just took forever. It was so slow. So I'm gonna find some stairs. Here we go, heading down the Blue Zone staircase. But it is one of these places that's very mysterious, very deceiving in terms of height, because they have lower ground, upper ground, middle ground. You go through so many ground levels until you finally get to the first floor. So you're always on a much higher floor than you think you are. It's funny, I said that one of my many superpowers is to always pick the wrong seat, but I often get forgotten as well. It happens frequently in my life, and I couldn't tell you exactly why. There's something invisible about me. I think I have a very diffident manner. So in a case like this, to be honest, I was waiting so long, I thought I had made a mistake, that I thought I had placed an order, but maybe I misunderstood and I didn't actually place any kind of order. But then when I went up to pay, my order was there. It had been submitted. They just never brought it to me. And but yeah, people just forget about me all the time. I sit there quiet like a mouse, and then I never get any food. And if I go in and sit down and wait to be served, no one will come to my table. I think I have a look that I'm okay. I sit there, I think I have a look about me that is so calm that anyone who walks by thinks, "Oh, there's a man who's had a good lunch. Look how happy he is sitting there." I don't have a look on my face like I'm starving and I'm still waiting for my food to arrive. Okay, bye. Yeah, funny. I just remembered that near here there was a place called Damascus, which appears to be very popular. And since it's after the lunch rush, a very noisy neighborhood here, maybe I can get a shawarma for my late lunch. It's getting later all the time. No luck there either. My other superpower is just to cause confusion everywhere I go. I don't know how I do it. Nobody else ever seems to have the trouble that I have when it comes to everything. So in that Damascus restaurant, I couldn't figure out how to get in. They had a takeaway lineup, but there was no dine-in lineup. And yet I looked inside and there were tables, people sitting at tables, and there were a couple of empty tables. So I figured I'm looking, there was no way to get in. The whole entrance was blocked. So I'm looking, and a guy sees me and sees that I want to come in to have lunch. And he says, "Oh, you want to sit, eat in. And I said, "Yeah, but I don't know how to get in." And he says, "No, come in. And he motioned me around. You got to go way over to the side and sort of sneak in through this narrow gap that I hadn't seen. And then he disappears, this guy, after motioning me to come in. And another guy sees me as I'm going in. He says, "Oh, how many? I said, "One, just one person." "Oh, okay, right there. And he points towards the table. And so I go into the restaurant and I go towards the back to the table he's pointing at. and it's filled with people's stuff. The table is occupied, and there are no other tables. Some people came in ahead of me. I took so long to get in that two people came in ahead of me, and they got the last table. So now I'm inside the restaurant, and I'm wandering around, and nobody knows who I am, because all they do is just wave me in. They just wave me in, tell me, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, go in, go in, go in. And then I'm just standing there all by myself, and nobody's, like, I have no assigned waiter is what I'm saying. Nobody's showing me to the table. Nobody knows what I'm doing back there. And then all I can do eventually is just turn around and leave. One guy, the guy who waved me in from the front, he looked at me leaving, and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, there's nowhere to sit. There are no tables. So he starts shouting towards the back. Guys in the back are shouting at him. I've caused total chaos and confusion, which was not my intention at all. I just want a sandwich. Can I please have a sandwich? It's kind of funny. I get forgotten. I get the worst table. I cause confusion somehow. And it's a little bit of a reason why I don't eat very often, because this happens all the time to me. So going out to have something to eat always ends up being such a huge hassle when I'm on my own. If I go with other people and they're in charge, everything just goes like clockwork. But when I'm on my own, I just end up starving to death, and I work so hard. And at the end of it, I end up with nothing to eat anyway. So what was the point of going out looking? I might as well have a bowl of cornflakes back in my hotel room and a cup of instant coffee. That I can control. So at least I can't walk this way. Or they're cleaning the sidewalk with a pressure hose. And this always happens to me too. There's just no way to get anywhere. As I said, there is a sidewalk here, but they have it completely blocked off for a pressure hosing. And there's no way to get across here either. That's where I need to go, in that direction, but as always, I'm stuck. There's no way to go anywhere if you're on foot. Maybe if I back up here, I can run across this highway. This is what I always end up doing. I see a gap in the foliage over there. So when the traffic slows down, I'm just gonna cross here. I was watching a video the other day. What made me laugh is this guy. I'm trying to remember the name of his channel. If I can't think of it, I'll put it in the video in text form. And he's an American, Ben something or other, from New York. He sort of makes me think. Now I got a FedEx truck trying to kill me, backing up into me. Cars coming around the corner here trying to kill me. But anyway, this guy, he's far worse than me. I guess he likes to walk places too. And he's sort of brand new in Kuala Lumpur. And in his latest video, he was trying to go to a mall. What was the name of it again? Pudu Sunway Mall. It's a place I've been to. And he tried to walk there. Over 3 hours later, he finally got to the mall, and I think he started at KL Central. And of course, if you know what you're doing, a trip from KL Central to that mall is 30 minutes, something like that. But he didn't know anything about that, and he was trying to walk. He kept running into barrier after barrier after barrier. He couldn't make any progress. Running across highways, climbing fences, doing all the things I end up doing. And yeah, he ran into a university campus, he said. Big campus, he couldn't get through. Security wouldn't let him onto the property. So he had to somehow get around it. And then he ended up at a KTM station, taking a city-to-city train just to go a short distance inside KL. And of course, on that video, all the Malaysians left dozens and dozens of comments telling him all the ways he should have done it. You're at KL Central, just take the Kelana, get on this train, get on that train, you'll be there in 30 minutes, go this way, go that way. But he's like, hey, He said that in the video. He says, yeah, I know you guys are going to roast me in the comments, but I had no idea how to get there from where I was. Pretty funny. Yeah, this is the construction over here too. I was walking by here the other day. A lot of jackhammers. It's an interesting project though. I looked up the history, but now I've forgotten. It was a famous hotel, a classic landmark of Kuala Lumpur, but they shut it down, but now they're renovating it and turning it into a Waldorf. Look at that. Crazy. A lot of work. So you'll never guess where I ended up. McDonald's. It's on the way back to my hotel, so I just popped in as I was walking past. Funny thing is, I saw some advertisements for a brand new special burger called the Samurai Burger, and I thought, well, I've been trying to have some kind of a special meal. The amazing banh mi at Vinh City, I think is the name of that Vietnamese restaurant. Couldn't get that, and then I tried to get a Damascus shawarma, which is famous for being really, really good. I couldn't get that either. And here they have this samurai burger. So I thought, that'll be interesting for video. I can have a special samurai burger. So I came into McDonald's, and they have the machine there. So you're not dealing with people forgetting you anymore, as always happens to me in restaurants. I love those machines. And there it is, my little double cheeseburger, because the samurai burger was sold out. They had like 4 different versions of them, but on the machine they're all grayed out. They're sold out of their samurai burger. It's kind of funny. Oh. As always, I chose probably the worst table in the place. It's really uncomfortable. Yeah, there are some normal tables over there, but anywhere where I would sit over there would end up bothering people. So I came over here into the corner. Yeah, I found the name of that guy I was thinking of. He's like my spirit animal at the moment. Yeah, that's him there. I don't know if you can see him on the GoPro video. Ben Fisherman. Fishermin with M-I-N. Ben Fisherman. And I was just talking about that video he shot about going to like Pudu Sunway Mall, I think. And now his newest video is called, get this, I went to the most ridiculous mall ever, Pavilion KL, Malaysia. So he went to the Pavilion Mall, and I guess he didn't think very much of it. So I'm very interested to watch this video now, see what he has to say about going to Pavilion. And of course, the Pavilion Mall here is one of the favorites. Everybody loves Pavilion. So it'll be interesting to see what all the comments are. I assume he went to Pavilion, didn't know much about it, and just sort of wandered around, or maybe he had a specific place he was looking for, and he just found it really hard to locate it. We'll see what happened to poor Ben this time. That's funny. Oh man, I'm so tired. I am exhausted. And so I think today's errand run is winding down. I left McDonald's, obviously. Got caught in the afternoon rainstorm. I blame that on the banh mi's too, because I mean, if I got my banh mi in short order, I would have had lunch and I would have been home back at my hotel a long time ago. I would have been back before the rains hit. But my adventures at banh mi place and Damascus shawarma place, and then I just walked to McDonald's, had a really nice meal there, to be honest. McDonald's, yeah, it never lets you down. At least it never lets me down. I think the McDonald's deities were having pity on me today, because I just ordered your basic double cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke, and everything was perfect. The fries were like hot, right out of the oil. Big serving, good burger. Lots, just the right amount of ice with the Coke. It was perfect for a McDonald's tray. So yeah, someone knew I needed some McDonald's McDonald's love there. But yeah, as soon as I left and started walking, yeah, then it started raining. So I had to take cover for a while. Still raining a little bit. Whenever it rains, it really shows my priorities, because I do have an umbrella, but I don't use the umbrella to keep me dry. I use it to keep my GoPro and my microphone dry. I'm holding the umbrella out here in front of me over top of the GoPro, but not over top of me. You gotta have your priorities straight. I didn't watch all of the video, but I did watch 20 minutes or 30 minutes of Ben Fisherman's Pavilion Mall video. Nothing particularly exciting in the video. He walks around and comments on the things he sees, a lot like me, I suppose. And the title of the video is something about, you know, it's implying that he didn't like the Pavilion Mall at all for some reason. So I was wondering what he was going to say, but so far, nothing bad. He just finds it a bit overwhelming, a bit big, too many floors, too many levels, too many stores. And yeah, other than that, he doesn't seem to be having any trouble. So we'll see what he says in the rest of the video. And with that last thought, I think it's time to shut down. I'm just a couple of blocks away from my hotel. Rain has stopped for now. Not a bad errand run. I'm thinking back. I thought maybe I didn't do anything today because I've been out here a long, long time. But I guess I started off a little bit late in the morning. I didn't go at the crack of dawn or anything. So I left late in the morning. So I didn't get to Olympus until quite late. And I was there for quite a while. Had a good talk with the guy, the technician, about cameras and the fungus and the electronics with my camera. The problem with it, as he told me, it sounds like the motherboard needs to be replaced. And if it's not the motherboard, it's the the IBIS, the stabilization system. If it's not that, it's a third thing that he mentioned. But he said all three of them would be well over 1,000 ringgit to replace, plus labor, plus. So if you're just going to sell this camera, as he said, it doesn't make much sense to have it repaired. If you're going to keep using it yourself and you like it as a camera, then you could invest some money in it, but I don't know. When I was waiting for my banh mi, I had a chance to play around with the camera. I had a long time sitting there at my table and shooting video with it. It actually worked. It never froze, it never shut down. It's such a weird problem this camera is having, because now when I brought it into Olympus today and demonstrated how it freezes and shuts down, it was only when you were taking pictures, when you went into aperture priority or shutter priority, and then you tried to use what Olympus calls the super control panel. That's the main system for changing all the settings in the camera. They call it the super control panel on Olympus. And if you turn on the super control panel, the touch screen doesn't respond, and then the LCD screen goes black, and the whole camera just stops working, which is very unusual. Tells you, yeah, there's something gravely wrong with this camera. But that was only when we were taking pictures and using the super control panel to alter aperture or shutter speed or white balance, whatever. And then as soon as I switched the camera over to video mode, it just sort of worked. I didn't have any issues with video mode at all. This was during lunch. 10 minutes later, it may have frozen as well. I don't know. But anyway, for all I know, I now have a camera that can only shoot video and can't take pictures. Who knows? Anyway, that was my first errand. And then I went to Alltech Camera and I was able to sell them one of my old photography lenses that I don't use anymore. For me, I got more for it than I expected, actually. I'm sure when the guy came up with his price and offered it to me, he was thinking, well, we need to make money on this, so I'm not going to offer a lot. I'll just offer the minimum amount. But when he showed me the minimum amount, it was more than I thought he was going to offer. So I ended up feeling okay about it. I said, oh, okay, I'll take that. It's more than I thought I was going to get. So I was happy with that. But then the day kind of fell apart with a banh mi, shawarma, and things like that. Actually, after the banh mi and the shawarma did work out, This is where I was going to come for lunch, right ahead of me, the Filipino restaurant in my neighborhood. I thought, I can get a good meal there. But I didn't dare risk it. The luck did not seem to be with me, and I had a feeling that if I walked all the way over here to have lunch, I'd find out that Laguna was closed for today as well, or there'd be some other problem. So I didn't dare risk it. Went to a trusty McDonald's instead. And that is it. I beat the worst of the rain, so that was good. Almost back at my hotel. And that is my signal to shut down the GoPro for now. An errand run on Planet Doug. Semi-successful one. But at least I got to see the inside of that shopping mall, Sungai Plaza. I don't think I'd ever been inside there before. It didn't look like anything special, but I'll have to go back someday if I ever want to try their banh mi. So that's it. Shutting down the GoPro, shutting down for the day, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.